In this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can set up your very own AI email assistant. Now, if you come to your inbox and you've got thousands of emails in there and it feels overwhelming, then this automation is going to help you get more organized. So this is a system that I've built for my own business and several clients as well. Again, everyone's email inbox process is different, but if you receive inquiries, sponsorship requests, leads, promotions, even receipts for accounting, you can automate that process so you don't have to handle it anymore. No longer do you need a personal assistant to do this, or you need to do it yourself. You can be concentrating on the big value tasks in your business. So let's dive in. I'm going to walk you through step by step, and I'm going to build it from scratch so you can follow along and build it for yourself. So this is the system that I've already built. You can see kind of the basic walkthrough here. I'm going to build it in n8n, which is an automation builder that allows you to build workflows and connect thousands of different apps to be able to obviously automate your work. So let's dive in. So I've just created this one prior. I'm going to refer back to this just so you can see it and you can understand it. Again, when I follow any videos, I also like to see kind of the end goal, but also see obviously built from scratch as well. So in n8n, just going to create a new kind of workflow. So I've just created a workflow here. And the first step is really just connect up the Gmail account. So this is for Gmail. If you did want to see, say, something for Outlook or Hotmail or any other email inbox, drop me a comment below and I'll build one out and I'll showcase it on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to click on Gmail and you can see on message received. So first of all, we've got this connect your account. So first of all, you'll just need to connect and log into your Gmail account, which is dead simple to do. You literally just go through the standard Gmail setup and then connect your account. Next, you can see the poll time. So this is going to be how many times this automation workflow is going to fire. Now, if you do it every minute, it's going to use a lot of your executions up. So you're not necessarily going to want to monitor your email account every minute. You could do it every hour. If you did want to kind of pull it into like 30 minutes, you're going to have to change this chronic expression to 30 minutes. So if you just click on here, you'll see kind of the different chronic expressions. And also if you just Google chronic expression, it will bring up kind of documentation on how to do it. So we can see here, if we scroll down, you can see here like what to do. So every 5 minutes, you could add this. So if you want to do it every 5 minutes, you just add that chronics in there. If it was 30, you just add 30 in there. Let's do 30 minutes. So next, we've set that up. So we're going to want to fetch that test data. So as we build, we can start to map that through and make sure it's working. So I'm going to click fetch test email. And you can see here the output on the right-hand side is pulled through a test email. So this looks like I've just forwarded an email as a test. So we can see here, obviously this is just from Google Ads. So next, what I can do here is we can click on this pin data. So we can pin this now. So it allows us to move that data through. As we add more nodes and modules, we can use this data to map everything and make sure it works. So now if we go back to Canvas, we can see that that first trigger has been added. So next, what we're going to want to do is add something called a classifier. So we're going to want to classify these emails, and we're going to use AI, mainly OpenAI, to classify these emails. So it's going to read the email and then give us a kind of an output to say this email is a newsletter or this email is an invoice. And then we can branch those different flows and obviously do executions from what those emails are. I'm going to click plus and type in classifier. So text classifier is going to come in here. And then we can start to obviously add in the text to classify. So to classify this email, we're going to want to add the subject line. So I'm just going to type subject. And then we're also going to want to add like the body of the email so it can understand the body. And you can see on the left-hand side, we've got this input, and this is the Gmail trigger. As we start adding more nodes to this, these will show on the left-hand side. So we can see on here that we've got the snippet. So I know the snippet is the body of the email. So I'm just going to copy that in and drop that next to there. And then we're going to look for subject, and we can see subject there. So you'll see it obviously drops in green. That means it's kind of mapping. And then we can just try and execute this step. Obviously it says it's not connected. So I'm just going to come back to the canvas and then follow on. And then I'll obviously execute it once it's all set up. So to be able to obviously classify this, we then obviously need to give it categories. So we want to tell the AI, like, well, what am I classifying it at? What am I saying this email is? So I'm going to add a category, and I'm just going to jump back to my example here and just show you. So you can see here, I've done the text to classify, and then I've got all of these categories here. So newsletters, YouTube sponsorship, promotions, receipts, and miscellaneous. So I'm just going to copy some of these across, and I'll just drop them in there. I'll just type newsletter, and then I'll add some other ones in. And again, everyone's email is going to be different. You'll have different emails coming in, so you can just categorize these as you see fit. This is just an example that I wanted to show you. So I'll grab all of these so I can map them all. So we can go promotions, and receipts. And then I think the final one is miscellaneous. And again, you can always come back and add these. Like if you're getting a lot of emails going into miscellaneous, just come back and classify them a different way. So that's now added there. And we can obviously come back to Canvas and we've classified those. So now we can start to see these branches here. And this is where we're going to branch off once these are classified. But to be able to do that, we need to add in OpenAI or ChatGPT. So again, you click on the plus and you're going to just type ChatGPT or OpenAI. So OpenAI chat model, and we'll click on that. And again, you just need to log in with your credentials. Again, if you don't know how to do this, you just need to go to OpenAI, create an account, add some credits, and then get your API key and connect it up. I'm not going to show it on here just because the API key is sensitive, but it's really easy to do. I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there. If you are struggling, just drop me a comment and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction on how to do this. So you can see mine's already connected, and I'm just going to go back to Canvas, drag this down, and then we can go back, or we could just click execute workflow here. So it said, so again, just as you do this, like I'm doing this live, so there is going to be errors, just click on the error and see what's happened. So we can see that it's failed, so it's not the right account. I'm going to come back, and then I'm just going to execute again, and hopefully it should show up green. So it's showing as a newsletter. So with the newsletters, let's, again, depends on what you want to do. There's options for this. You could add them into, say, an OpenAI model, get them to summarize it. You could add it to a spreadsheet if you wanted to see kind of the emails that you're getting and go through them at a later date. You could add them to your Slack channel if you wanted those newsletters to come into a Slack channel so you can just quickly read them, or you want to give them to your team and obviously you can all stay up to date with what's going on. There's so many different things that you can do. It just really depends on what you're looking to do. For this, I'm just going to label them so that when I come into my inbox, I don't just see loads of emails, I'll see the labels with newsletters. So for this, I'm going to add in the Gmail node. And then again, I'm going to go add label to message. I'm going to click on my Gmail account. I'm going to go to message, add label is the operation. And the message ID, we're going to want to bring that in from the Gmail trigger. So we're going to drag this ID over. And then on my labels, again, these are labels that you've created in Gmail. So if you use your Gmail account, you'll have that labels on the left-hand side. This is where you'd obviously create them. And you can see mine here is newsletters. So I'm going to add that. Next, I can execute that step and then see the output and see that it was a success. So like I said, if you wanted to kind of add anything else to this, you just come in here, go to, say, Google Sheets, and then add a row and add that information in there. Or like I said, if you wanted to add it into Slack, you could connect Slack in here and obviously send a message. And maybe you've got a newsletter channel for all of your team. You can add all of the information in there. Really easy to do. So for mine, I'm just going to leave it like that. I think in mine original one that I created, yeah, I just created that one there. So next we're going to do, say, YouTube sponsorship. Now I get a lot of requests to do sponsorship videos. I get a lot of like affiliate deals as well, which I don't tend to do just because, again, it's not something that I spend a lot of time doing with affiliate marketing. But what I like to do is obviously respond to these requests, and if it's the right fit, have that conversation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create this new node. Now what we can do, because we want to test all these properly and make sure they work, we can come back into the Gmail trigger and we can click on this here and go edit. So what I'm going to do is just change this snippet. So I'm just going to get everything inside of the brackets and I'm going to go, this is a YouTube sponsorship email. And then I'm just going to click save. Now, when you execute this the next time and catch, this will just change. Obviously, I've got it pinned at the moment. So this is just so I can get that information through and I can obviously test. So let's just jump into my previous one. So first thing I want to do is label that message. So I'm going to add another label. And again, what you can do here is obviously just copy this, duplicate, and then just drop it there. And as you go, you're probably going to want to like label these. So this one is for newsletters. So we're going to just name this add label. newsletter. Okay, cool. And then this one is add label YouTube. Okay, cool. So what we're going to want to do is just, again, execute. I'm going to connect that up because I need the data. So you'll see here when I click on this, there's no data in the output. So I'm going to want to execute that, see what happens, and hopefully it goes to the YouTube, which it has. Perfect. So now when I click on that, I can now map this across. So it's not going to be the newsletter, it's going to be YouTube. And again, we'll follow that step for all of them. I will just go ahead and do those now. So I'll literally just click duplicate and again, move them up. And this one's going to be promotions. I'll just put in, say, newsletters, and then just name that to promotions. Connect that, and then duplicate it. Receipts. So for me, this will be the accounting label. And again, you can change, obviously, these labels. Come back in and do it. And I'll drag that node to there. And then the final one is just miscellaneous. So you can add as many as you want. Again, if you've got quite a noisy inbox and you're going to want to change this. So this one's just misc. And I'm just going to add it, keep it in the inbox for this one. And then drag that one in. I'll just move that out of the way, like so. Cool. Obviously, you're going to want to keep this tidy, otherwise it's going to get pretty confusing. But now we can see kind of the 5 routes that we're going to go down. So to test these, we're just going to want to change that test data. So just come back in, just change this to, this was an invoice email. Click save, come back out, execute workflow. That should then go down the invoice, which it has. Again, we can come back in, change this to misc email, click save, execute workflow, and so on. So as you can see, you can map all those through, just get them to work. So the text classifier is working. We can see that. Now what we want to do next is obviously build out the flow so we can do more with this. So like I mentioned, for the YouTube side of things, I will always just send a response. My response is always pretty much the same, and I was finding myself just copying and pasting the same message. So I actually want to just send the message that I use, but taking into account kind of what they've said in the email. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use OpenAI. And I'm going to go on message a assistant. So let me just pull that up. So message assistant. And again, you'll need to connect your same OpenAI account. So if you've already connected it, you're good to go. And obviously you can connect everything up. So we're going to build this out. And again, I'll use mine as an example so you can see. So we can see that we'll set it up, we'll message, in fact, it's message a model, and then we're going to use kind of GPT-5. You don't have to use GPT-5. Again, depends on what kind of the complexity you're using. It's not super expensive anymore, so it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So we'll just type in message a model, and then we'll choose the right account, and then it says from list, so we'll just obviously choose the model we want to use. So we're going to use GPT-5. It's not coming up, so let's just find it. Okay, cool. So you could use 4. I'm sure it'll work fine. So now we want to build out the prompt. Like how are we going to obviously take the email that we've received and make sure that obviously the AI can then handle that information and create a response for us. So if we come back out and we just look at this, we can see my prompt here. Again, you can just create this prompt. So you're a professional copywriter with expertise in handling email inquiries. So I'm just going to copy this in, and this is going to be as a system role. So we're telling the system, this is what you're going to do. Next, we've got the actual prompt, and this is going to be the assistant. So follow these guidelines and give them information about kind of my sponsorship. So we're going to add a message. We'll drop that in there. and we'll go assistant, and you'll see here I've added in, please format the data into, let me just drop that down, subject line and email body. So it's going to, we don't really need the subject line. We just need the kind of email body going back, because we're going to reply to the email. We're not going to send a new email, but I've just added that in. So this is just some JSON code and formatting in JSON so we can use it in the later nodes. So you can just copy this as see fit here. And a tip for you, if you're struggling to like understand what information to parse and send through, you can use ChatGPT. Just ask it like, how can I do this? How can I do that? What format does this need to be in? I do that a lot. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I want this. For example, I want it to be able to attach invoices as PDFs to be able to send that off to an accounting software that I use to automate all my accounting. And I fixed that and worked that out with using ChatGPT. So we've added that in now. Next, we're going to go through and we're going to add in the user. So here, this is when we'll pull through the information. So we've got the subject line and then obviously the email body. So I'll just copy this across. So that one's assistant. This one is going to be the user. So obviously it's mapped through. I'm going to just delete those so that you can I can show you how I did that. So in the Gmail trigger, you're literally just going to do the same again like we did before, and you're just going to grab that subject line and just copy that across. Subject, and then we will grab, not the subject again, we want the snippet. Okay, cool. Perfect. So to execute this, obviously we're going to want to just update that information here. So we'll say this is a YouTube email, YouTube sponsorship. Click save. And that should now execute and go through. Okay, so it's obviously reaching out to GPT-5. It's obviously taking that information and it's going to look to create a response for us. So the next step, we would take that response and reply to that email. So you can see the power of this. And again, if you didn't want to just like start sending those emails, you could just draft them. So instead of just directly sending them, start with drafting them. You go in, see the drafts. Yep, that's good. Maybe after 10 or 20, you're happy. Then you can just automatically send them. And obviously the AI can handle your messaging and email response. So we can see here the output and we can see kind of the information that it's giving us. So it's broken that down and obviously gives us the subject line and then obviously the email body. So next, we're going to want to draft this email out. So again, like I mentioned, you want to probably draft these first so that you don't just let AI kind of run away of itself and send these emails. But once you've tested, you can then obviously add the send email instead of drafting it out. So next thing we want to do is obviously click on the plus, go to Gmail, and then we're going to click on draft email. So we're going to say create a draft. From here, we'll choose the right inbox and then we'll pull the subject through. It's not going to be needed because we're going to reply to this email. But again, we'll go back to the original trigger and we'll find the subject and we'll just drag that over and drop that in. Next, you'll keep obviously the email type text and we can go to the content, the output where we message the model and just drop that in. So that's pulling through that message we've created. Next step, we want to just add the options. We're going to pull the thread ID. So we'll go back to the Gmail trigger and you'll see thread ID here and we can drop that in. That's just going to then reply to that thread in that email. Finally, we'll just add the to email just to capture that to email. So we can say to, and we'll drop that in there as well. So that's now done. That's going to execute and create a draft. So if I click execute step, it should say, yep, done. It's drafted that and it'll be drafted in my Gmail account for me to review and then click send. So you can imagine how much time this saves you. You don't have to read the email and then obviously write the draft. It's doing it all for you. And you could do this on kind of lead generation inquiries, anyone emailing you for certain information. Like I mentioned, I want to show you next how you can automate your accounting as well. So let's do that. That's all done. That's drafted. So let's go through and obviously just update this and say this is, in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to save that. I'm going to unpin it and then I'm going to fire through an invoice with a PDF to show you how you can download the PDFs and upload them to or send them to your accountancy software. Okay, so I've sent a test email with a PDF attached and I've just gone in here, like I said, I've unpinned the test data and I've fetched a new event. So I can see here that this has pulled it through. So if I then just pin that data, so that stays in and doesn't kind of delete it, I can then execute the workflow. and they should go through to the receipts. So now what I'm going to want to do is, first of all, I'm going to download the message. So I'm just going to go to Gmail, and I'm going to say get message. And this is the part where you want to, because the reason why we're selecting get message is because we actually want to download the PDF. And if we just forward that message on, it doesn't automatically download that PDF for us. So I'm going to click get Gmail account, message, get the operation, and then message ID. We know we can pull that through from the Gmail trigger to map that through. And then on the simplify, I'm going to turn that off, add options, download attachments, click on download attachments, and then execute step. Okay, so now I can see it's found 2 files. So obviously you can download these and check them, but now I know they are there. Perfect. So now what I want to do is just send these attachments straight through. So I use what's called Dext, which is a invoice kind of parser that's automatically connected to my Xero. All my accounting is automated. So whenever I get receipts, it's sent through, it reads the email, and then it matches it to my invoice in Xero. And I don't have to do anything. I always remember when I first started, I had to kind of map everything, and it spent so much time doing it. And I was like, there must be a better way. So this is the way I do it. Go to Gmail. I'm going to click send a message. And then again, same thing, just going to map everything through. The to email is, again, I know it's in here, so it's going to be Dext. This is my kind of to email. Drop that in. The subject doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go over to schema and obviously just pull through the get message, and then I just pull through the subject if it's in here. So again, I can pull it through from the Gmail trigger. So I'll just pull through the subject. Doesn't really matter. The message, again, can be the snippet, not required. It's more for the attachments. So I'm going to go add options, attachments, and then add attachment. And then this is where we're going to add an expression. So again, we'll have to pull this through. This is where I mentioned I used ChatGPT just to help me create the code for this. So this is just the code. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to drop that in, and it's obviously bracket, 2 brackets, object keys, binary, join, and this code. So this is just JSON code that allows me to attach these PDFs to this email. So I'm going to go execute step, and that should say success sent. So that's now sent through those PDFs to my invoice parser that's going to automatically send them to obviously my Xero, and just going to account for everything. So that's kind of how I have it set up. You can see in here, if I go back to Canvas, that's what I have set up. Like I said, you may have different ways of doing it. You may want to add Slack in there. You may want to add Telegram. You may want to add WhatsApp. You may want to change all these labels. But that's really how to set up your very own personal AI system from start to finish to really help you manage your inbox, label all your emails, draft emails, and also send emails as well to help you save time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit a like button and hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you have any feedback or you want me to do any other kind of walkthroughs and automations, I can do, just drop a comment below and I'll be sure to follow up. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.